Hi, I'm Dwayne Brown. Tonight on KPBS Evening Edition, the mayor goes back into mediation while the Democratic Party considers a vote against him. Also tonight, a warning about a sneaky lottery scam using the county seal to look legitimate. Seniors and veterans are being targeted.
And I'm Peggy Pico. U.S. Attorney Laura Duffy joins us with a warning about safety in San Diego after sequestration. Then, no more excuses. Stop it now. An anti-violence against women campaign kicks off in San Diego. How to protect yourself against bad behavior no matter where it happens.
And budget troubles are closing a continuing care center in the North County. What it could mean for patients and their families. KPBS Evening Edition starts now. Hello, good evening. Thanks for joining us. San Diego County's Democratic Party has already called for Mayor Bob Filner to resign. Now, the Democratic National Committee may do the same. CNN reports the vote will come at the party's summer meeting in Phoenix this week. The network says it's obtained a draft of a resolution reading in part, "We cannot reassure voters that a vote for a Democrat is a vote for a champion for women, unless Democrats walk our talk on equality and take firm action in accordance with our values." The resolution says the party condemns anyone engaging in sexually harassing behavior. 16 women have accused the mayor of making unwanted sexual advances. Mayor Filner spent another day in closed-door talks over the sexual harassment lawsuit filed against him by his former communications director. Irene McCormick Jackson was the first to go public with accusations. A retired federal judge is mediating the talks and has instructed all parties not to give specifics. Our media partner 10 News says Filner's possible resignation is part of the discussion. The sexual harassment charges are just one of the troubles facing the mayor. Questions have also been raised about his trip to Paris in June and a $100,000 payment from a developer. Of course, we have more on the controversies online at kpbs.org/news/Filner. San Diego's district attorney says there's a new lottery scam tonight using the official county seal and targeting seniors and veterans. KPBS videographer Katie Ufrat has the story.
District Attorney Bonnie Dumanis warned the public today that one retired San Diego couple has already lost $30,000 to the scheme. They gave their bank information to the scammers after getting a phone call telling them they'd won $2.5 million. And they received a fax with the official San Diego County seal and a photocopy of a check.
In short, they're using the legitimacy of a government seal to prey on vulnerable seniors. These individuals have stolen at least one couple's hard-earned money in a brazen and heartbreaking example of financial elder abuse.
The district attorney's office has posted tips on their website for how to avoid lottery scams. Dumanis says lotteries from overseas can be phony and suggests screening calls before answering. If someone offers you money, hang up the phone or throw away the letter, and never give out personal information. Dumanis said this scam is likely happening around the country and urges anyone who suspects they've given money to a scam to call 619-531-3245. Katie Ufrat, KPBS News.
State prison officials have been given court permission to force-feed hunger-striking inmates. They've refused to eat for a month and a half to protest solitary confinement conditions. Authorities say if they end up force-feeding inmates, they want to avoid methods used at Guantanamo Bay. That's where military officials came under fire when they snaked feeding tubes through the noses of terrorism suspects who refused to eat. Now, at least 46 California inmates remain on hunger strike. We're about 3.5 months into mandatory federal budget cuts known as sequestration, and San Diego's U.S. Attorney talks with Peggy Pico about billions cut from the Justice Department and its potential impact on crime and safety here.
From prosecutors to judges, defense attorneys, and agents, San Diego's U.S. Attorney Laura Duffy says sequestration cuts will have a dramatic impact on public safety. She joins me now with her concerns, and welcome.
Thank you for having me.
So sequestration cuts began back in March, started taking effect back then. Why are you alarmed now?
Well, I think that I've been alarmed, and the United States Attorney community has been alarmed ever since they began taking place. But right now, we're starting to really feel the consequences, the adverse consequences on the criminal justice system.
Specifically, how are you feeling that? How are you seeing it?
Well, the Department of Justice budget was cut $1.5 billion this year. We cut $2.4 billion next year. What that means for the Southern District of California and U.S. Attorney's offices across the country is hiring freezes. It means no backfill for our attorneys. It means we're losing our support staff, and we are simply not able to do the prosecutions that we were once able to do. Our capacity is being diminished, and with our capacity diminished, we're no longer able to hold all the criminals accountable who need to be accountable for the criminal conduct that they're carrying out in the district.
So you're having to choose between which cases you'll prosecute as opposed to what the law dictates as to what you should prosecute and shouldn't?
Every day we're getting closer to having to make really tough decisions. Now, for example, we are reviewing every section of our office, our narcotics section, our major fraud section, national security, immigration section, to make sure that we are placing the priority on those who pose the greatest threat to the district.
What are your biggest concerns about not being able to prosecute? Which types of cases are you most concerned about?
Well, the large bulk of our work is border related, immigration and hard narcotics smugglers. And so when you have individuals who are coming into the district who have serious criminal histories, and we have to choose between whose criminal history poses the greatest threat, somebody who has raped somebody, somebody who has assaulted somebody, or somebody who has a DUI. None of those are good choices. And if you don't prosecute the person who has the DUI and that person ends up coming back into the district and ends up killing a child in a car crash, that's a risk that nobody wants to take.
What happens to those cases you're not going to be able to prosecute? Can they prosecute? Can they get bumped down to a different court? Is there a place for them someplace else?
We are trying to maintain a consequence delivery to every individual, regardless of whether we can prosecute them criminally federally. Some of those are being turned over, handled administratively, and individuals, for example, in the immigration context, sent back to Mexico, referred to state, referred to county. And so we're handling them in a number of different ways, including diverting them within the federal system through programs that are alternatives to custody.
What about the impact of furlough days on prosecutors? You had just touched on that earlier. What sort of actual trickle-down effect or impact would that have here in San Diego?
Well, what we're looking at is we lost 3,000 staff nationwide to the Department of Justice in 2013. We'll stand to lose another 2,000 in 2014 due to budget restrictions. On top of that, furlough days will likely be imposed. The more we have to reduce staff and have staff who aren't working, the fewer cases we are going to be able to do. So the impact to the community is very real.
The other government agencies, including military defense contractors here, say, yeah, this year we were hit really hard, but next year we may be able to plan for this in our budget. Can the DOJ do that as well?
Well, we were able to avoid furloughs to keep our staff in the workplace working and handling prosecutions this year by using reserve funding. We have pretty much used up that entire reserve funding. We will not have those same kind of funds or financial maneuvers available to us next year. So I do not believe that we're going to be able to maneuver around some of the consequences.
What is your solution to these cuts? Do you see a likelihood of reversing sequestration?
Well, what I'm trying to do and what U.S. attorneys across the country are trying to do is educate the public to make sure that they know the breadth and the depth of the impact that they have, and to impose upon Congress to really look at sequestration, the meat cleaver approach, especially as it relates to border prosecutions, and to craft a very viable and reasonable balanced budget for the southwest border.
All right, U.S. Attorney Laura Duffy, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
A follow-up now on a story from our media partner, 10 News, iNews source. Last night, we told you about angry parents in the Poway Unified School District who say they paid Melrose taxes for a neighborhood school too crowded for their children. They went to a district meeting last night and were told paying the taxes doesn't guarantee a seat in the new school. The Poway district says they could bring portable classrooms to Willow Grove Elementary, but they wouldn't be ready until January. And San Diego is home to two of the nation's richest lawmakers. Republican Darrell Issa tops the list of wealthiest congressmen with a net worth of $355 million. Democrat Scott Peters was number 8, his net worth nearly $45 million. Palomar Health will close one of its skilled nursing facilities in Escondido in a few weeks. The hospital says cuts to Medi-Cal reimbursement is to blame. KPBS health reporter Kenny Goldberg says the closure of the 96-bed facility could have some painful repercussions.
The Palomar Continuing Care Center opened its doors in Escondido in the early 1970s. Since then, it's cared for thousands of people who've needed skilled nursing care after being discharged from the hospital. The facility has never been a profit center because nearly 80% of its patients are on Medi-Cal. The state program for the poor pays healthcare providers a low rate. To make matters worse, in 2011, when California was mired in a budget crisis, state lawmakers made the Medi-Cal payment rate even lower. After numerous legal challenges, the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals ruled earlier this year the pay cut could go forward. For the Continuing Care Center, that means a loss of around $7 million a year. Palomar's Steve Gold says they just can't afford to keep their doors open.
There isn't any practical way to do that without some subsidization from other corners of the health system. But because of very, very significant changes in healthcare, we all have to consider obvious changes to the way we operate, and this is one of them.
The center has had a 97% occupancy rate, but since early July, it stopped admitting new patients. Relocating their remaining patients is a major challenge. The facility's medical director, Dr. Teja Singh, says it's a terrible situation.
Patients are crying, families are crying, staff is upset, and we have to find places for these people to go.
Dr. Singh says he's not confident all of their patients will find another place.
One of the things that we used to do is we used to, in this particular facility, take patients without any insurance who are undocumented or unfunded, without any money, and we would care for them, and we'd give them top quality of care just like any other person. And we also have patients with all kinds of insurances. For the less fortunate folks, it's going to be difficult because a lot of places won't take them, and they're going to have nowhere to go.
How are you doing today? I'm doing very well, thank you.
Joyce Israel has been at the center since last December. She was surprised when she was told she'll have to leave. Israel is trying to take it in stride.
I look at it and said that's the way things are, and one has to go along with it.
Patients aren't the only ones that are being displaced. Nursing Director Joel Alberto says 130 staff members have to find other jobs.
Some of them have been here for 20 years, just as long as some of the residents have been here, and many of them are emotionally attached. So keeping them motivated to maintain a high level of performance is something that's ongoing every day, and also being strong for the residents as well.
Palomar officials have reached out to 23 different nursing homes in the county to see if they'd be willing to take on some of their patients. Unfortunately, some of them don't accept people on Medi-Cal, and some aren't able to handle patients with complex medical issues. Palomar's Steve Gold says he's concerned about who will fill the void.
If we're not available to care for the Medi-Cal populations that we have, will the majority of the other facilities provide that care? And I raise that as a question mark. I'm not sure, and I hope that happens. But that's the kind of silent safety net that facilities like this have provided for the years that we've been in operation.
After Palomar Center closes, San Diego County will only have 3 hospital-based skilled nursing facilities that can provide high levels of medical care round the clock. If they're full, some patients might be able to find a place in Riverside or Orange counties, but there are no guarantees. Kenny Goldberg, KPBS News.
A new report says premiums went up this year for employer-sponsored health plans, and they went up faster than wages. The Kaiser Family Foundation says more companies are giving workers plans with higher deductibles, meaning they pay more out of pocket before coverage begins. The annual average premium for family coverage topped $16,000. A new field poll out tonight shows support for the Affordable Care Act remains strong in California, but 1 in 4 voters are vaguely familiar with how it works, even though enrollment for the California Healthcare Exchange starts in October. Another 60% are somewhat knowledgeable about the overhaul, but the survey finds details of the program remain foggy even if they support its intent. The poll shows 53% of California voters support Obamacare. And every Monday, we answer your questions about the Affordable Care Act. To ask a question, go to kpbs.org/Second Opinion. Well, where you live determines how long you wait for a new liver, but redistricting could make the way the organs are allocated more fair. Specialists say gerrymandering may shorten wait lists and help save lives. Cindy Sharp of the Associated Press has the story.
Lots and lots of fresh basil.
Will Sherbert is rooted again in his California home, but it took a temporary move to Florida to help save his life.
I received a transplant on May 20th of 2012.
Sherbert needed a new liver after a hepatitis B infection. Like in real estate, it was all a matter of location.
If you are sick and you need a liver now, where you live will directly impact whether you live or die.
Sherbert waited a year on the transplant list in California and got sicker. In Florida, he waited a few months and got the liver.
I feel like I'm 15 years younger.
The late Apple CEO Steve Jobs went to Memphis for his liver transplant in 2009, but not everyone can afford a move or travel to get on a shorter wait list.
This geographic inequity is not consistent with our goal as a transplant community.
Johns Hopkins researchers think they may have a way to make the system more fair. It involves taking a cue from politicians. Gerrymandering. The country is currently divided into 11 liver transplant regions that only share organs on a limited basis. Red shows areas with the sickest patients at time of transplant. The blue sections, healthier patients who didn't have to wait as long. If the same approach to redraw congressional districts is used, researchers say the liver regions could look more like this.
Here we want the balance of need and supply to be as close as possible in each organ sharing district.
The United Network for Organ Sharing is considering the idea. If adopted, the risk of dying without a new liver may not depend on your zip code. Cindy Sharp, Associated Press.
In the wake of sexual misconduct claims against Mayor Bob Filner, a series of public workshops will look at the bigger issue of violence against women. Peggy Pico has a look.
The campaign is called No More Excuses, Stop It Now. Its goal is to expand the conversation from sexual harassment to sex trafficking, sexual assault, domestic violence, and sexual abuse in the military. Here with more on the public workshops are Ann Hoiberg with the Women's Museum of California and Martha Sullivan with Women Occupy San Diego. Welcome. And what motivated you to kick off this anti-violence campaign against women right now?
Well, it actually dates back to 1995 when many of us came back from the women's conference in Beijing, and we were just charged up to do all we could to stop violence against women. That was one of the 12 critical areas of concern. Following up on that, last spring, back at the UN, we also discussed violence against women in all its forms, and we decided enough is enough. And then when we came back to San Diego, we had a talk back. We talked about all the issues related to violence against women. And now is the time, especially now that we have the situation with our mayor and sexual harassment.
Do you think the attention on the mayor is diluting the discussion on sexual harassment?
I don't think it's diluting it, but it's certainly bringing it into the forefront. All of my conversations in the last month and a half have been about sexual harassment, what we can do to stop it, what is the next step for us to do, and so we want to educate the public about stopping sexual harassment.
Well, Martha, you went to the head of San Diego's Democratic Party back in 2011 when Bob Filner was making a run for his mayor. What were your concerns and what was done about it when you brought those concerns up?
Well, my concerns were that we were hearing from other women that there was behavior that made them uncomfortable. And I wanted to make sure that this was addressed with then candidate Filner. Unfortunately, as so often happens with women's voices, they didn't carry through. And you know, they wanted formal complaints that they could investigate, and there weren't any. And that reflects a real problem for, you know, many forms of, you know, violence against women and girls, because it's very hard for women and girls to come forward and talk about what really, you know, they're made to feel ashamed about.
Yeah, and when you're not just talking about sexual harassment here, of course, that's one of the things, but as far as these free public workshops you're going to be doing, what other types of things are you going to be talking about?
Well, we're going to be, the intent of the campaign is to address you know, the range of violence against women and girls, and that's sexual harassment, it's violence in public places, violence in our military, sexual assault and harassment of our women military, and what we, you know, really refer to as terrorism in the home, you know, which is often called domestic violence. So we want to give women a voice across that spectrum, and we want this campaign to be a vehicle for that.
And will you have solutions at these workshops? Women will come up. Do you say, here's the problems, here's what you can do? What's sort of going to be offered to these people who come?
Well, we will be having experts come in and lead off the workshops. For example, Kit Goldman will be conducting our first workshop on sexual harassment, and we will all come away with that with actions on how to stop it now.
Okay, so an action plan for sure. And what do you want people to walk away from after attending this campaign and these?
What we really want people, you know, to come away with after Saturday night is we're going to be inviting, especially women, and you know, men are invited as well, but especially women who need to be heard. We want them to tell us, you know, what would be helpful to them in the workshops and other events that we can schedule and coordinate as part of this campaign. What would be helpful to them to learn about, to get help with, and there can be different forms of that. So we really want to hear from other women what would be useful to them.
So it sounds like it's going to be customized. Well, we are out of time, so thank you so much for talking with us about this. I want to let folks know that the No More Excuses free public workshop starts and is kicked off this Saturday night at 6 at the World Beat Center in Balboa Park. For more information, go to kpbs.org.
I'm Jeffrey Brown. On the next News Hour, honoring champions in the Rose Garden and March Madness in the Map Room. We look at the sports fan in the White House. That's Tuesday on the PBS News Hour.
The USS Midway Museum is taking over as sponsor of the San Diego Veterans Day Parade. The event's had some funding problems in the past. The Midway sponsorship nearly doubles the parade's budget, but organizers say they still need another $30,000 to make their target of $100,000. More of these partly cloudy, partly sunny days, if that's what you like. In fact, the coast will see daytime temperatures mostly in the mid-70s, morning clouds, then partly cloudy by afternoon. Mid-80s for the inland valleys, and we might see some gusty winds tomorrow afternoon. The mountains may get some windy weather as well. Temperatures in the 80s there. As for the desert, sunny, temperatures well above 100, around 110 in fact. The Weather Service says there's a slight chance of thunderstorms this weekend. Recapping tonight's top stories, this week, the Democratic National Committee may officially call on Mayor Bob Filner to step down. CNN reports the DNC has drafted a resolution reading in part, "We cannot reassure voters that a vote for a Democrat is a vote for a champion for women unless Democrats walk our talk on equality and take firm action in accordance with our values." Now, the resolution says the party condemns anyone engaging in sexually harassing behavior. 16 women have accused the mayor of making unwanted sexual advances. The mayor spent another day in closed-door talks over the sexual harassment lawsuit filed against him by his former communications director. Irene McCormick Jackson was the first of the women to go public with accusations. A retired federal judge is mediating the talks and has instructed all parties not to give specifics. Our media partner, 10 News, says Filner's possible resignation is part of the discussion. And San Diego's district attorney is warning about a lottery scam targeting veterans and senior citizens. The scammers are using the official county seal on messages telling their victims they've won millions. At least one elderly San Diego couple was convinced to give up their bank information, losing $30,000 in the scam. We have more details about the scam, along with all of tonight's stories, online at kpbs.org/evening edition. You can also download the KPBS app and give us your feedback about what you see and hear on KPBS. Thank you for joining us. Good night.